as y'all know, a bevy of older quarterbacks such as Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and etc. has coined the phrase or have came out and said that, you know, these quarterbacks are just not being developed correctly, and development process is not being, quite frankly, dealt right. And with the young old man coming in as Phillip Rivers came in 2 to 3 weeks ago and single-handedly looked like he hasn't missed a step at 44 years old, coming in dropping dimes. It's also another form of evidence that these quarterbacks just not dealt right. And we're gonna get down into it, but I'm gonna break it down into way simpler forms. It's not just the player, but it's also the organization as well. Chicago, it's the NFL Central, but y'all gotta hear that music first. Your boy Stevo. Let's get it.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of NFL Central. Is one of your hosts here, Stevo. I'm here for another morning episode with y'all. So let's get straight into it. Y'all see the thumbnail, y'all see the title, y'all seen the intro. Let's get straight into it. So, like I said in the intro, as you know, Tom Brady's commentators and if you just haven't been watching the NFL, probably I would say the last 10 years, you wouldn't notice it, but if you have noticed that the drop off in production in the quarterback position has significantly dropped. And it has a lot of things to do with organization, scheme fit, most importantly, players, what they're willing to put in, the type of work they're willing to put in certain moments in the off season. And yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. But what made me come up with this scenario, I mean this video, I should say. I already did a video before Shador Sanders was being drafted on how the state of the quarterback mind, like choosing a quarterback, has changed because once upon a time, the Shador prospect was the prospect. He was going to be a number one pick. The pocket passer, the accurate passer, the dude that stays in the pocket. That's the guy that they've been looking for. But over the span of 15 to 10 years, 10 to 15 years, I should say, especially in the high school and college game, if your name ain't got a dual threat next to it, it's just almost it's almost rare to see um a, a pocket passing quarterback because there's just not too many of them. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still some out there. There's still quite a few out there, but I will easily say quick to 70 to 80% of all high school to college players got dual threat next to their name. And I do feel like that has a lot to do with it. As you've seen, Phillip Rivers came in at the old young age of 44 years old. First game against one of the best defenses in the league, in the Seattle Seahawks. And the man came out there. Of course, he looked rusty, but he was still out there and did it looked pretty serviceable. 18 for 27, 120 yards, one touchdown, one interception. And if you watch that game, it was just he couldn't run, he couldn't escape, he knew everything pre-snap, and he just read the field. And that's probably the biggest thing. And Tom Brady talks about it a lot. A lot of these quarterbacks are not being taught the game correctly. We understand coming into the league, quarterbacks are going to see some coverages that they have never seen before. But when the fuck did we stop preparing them in college to be prepared for that? It's almost like we said, okay, well, you're going to see something that you ain't going to do. You might as well learn on the fly there. No. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, hell, the Cam Newtons, you name them, Ben Roethlisberger's. They grew up a certain way, and they grew up learning a certain way, and their Hall of Fame career shows it. They were taught, hey, bro, I don't give a fuck what your physical capabilities is. In order for you to play NFL football, big boy football at the quarterback position, you got to be able to read the field. You got to know what's going on pre-snap. And you got to be able to adapt because sometimes you got to, the pre-snap might look a certain way and it might flip. Sometimes a blitz is coming, you got to adjust. Quick pass right here to the slant or quick pass to the flats. A lot of these things now is, oh, you're a dual threat, get up out of there. You're physically tool, get that, break that tackle, get up out of there. And don't get me wrong, I understand why the shift happened. The shift happened because it is very difficult in the NFL to be a pocket passer, especially in today's land where you got D tackles, edge rushers, linebackers running at the speed of running backs and wide receivers. Yes, that's not a bullshit. It's 330-pound motherfuckers running the same speed as a running back or a wide receiver. So that's primarily some of the main reasons why they didn't technically want a stationary quarterback. But at the end of the day, a stationary quarterback has won bevy of championships throughout the inception of the NFL. And Phil Rivers is a proof to that. You see him come in on Monday night, two nights ago. I'm recording this on Wednesday. Go up against 49ers, who's also a hot team. Not necessarily the greatest defense in the world. We all know getting to the quarterback ain't their strong suit, and most importantly, they secondary, it needs some work. But for that man, for the first half, I would just say to basically be dueling out with Purdy and the 49ers, dude had 7 points in the first quarter, scored 10 points in the second quarter. 25 of 34, almost threw for 300 yards, was finishing with 295 yards. 8 yards per pass. 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm going to repeat that again. 25 for 34, 295 yards, 8.7 yards per pass, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and I'm talking about a 44-year-old man. Tua can't do that. And that's before the last few weeks, that was a starting quarterback. Tua can't do that. Justin Fields, who's not a starting quarterback, no, can't do that. It's so many Zach Wilsons. It's so many people that just didn't learn the proper way, and it was somewhat on them, somewhat on the scheme. If you want to talk about all the players that was developed incorrectly, let's go down the list. Just name 2 of them: Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. I'm gonna give you another one, Trey Lance. I'm gonna give you another one. You could say Sam Darnold up until he went to Minnesota. You could say Baker Mayfield up until somewhat he got to Tampa Bay, or I would say the Rams, because that's where he kind of revitalized his career. And Daniel Jones before he went to Indiana. And this is the first phase I want to talk about with the last, especially with the last 3 to 4 players I just mentioned. Those quarterbacks lost their job just for not being patient enough. That's one aspect of why these quarterbacks are not developing the same. It never was a 3-year to 4-year process developing a quarterback. But over the past 5 years, because of how much we got to pay these quarterbacks in this current market, you've made it to the point where now it's you kind of have to figure out what you got in 3 to 4 years. But we all know it takes a very special player to get developed enough to be even considered somebody to give a second huge contract to. And that's some of the biggest problem. I still feel like Mac Jones could be a starter in this league. I still feel like Sam Darnold, well, we already know Sam Darnold is a starter in this league. You give him the proper people, you give him the proper staff, a run game, a solid O-line and a defense, you get something. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. You put them on Tampa Bay, even though they got a ton of injuries. You put them with solid O-line, some wide receivers, competent coaching. You get some good play. Same thing with Daniel Jones. Nobody seen this shit coming in Indiana. But we all know Indiana is a way better team than what the Giants was when he was on that team. That's just the truth. So that's one aspect of why these quarterbacks, and I feel like it's the main aspect. Y'all not giving these young men enough time. It at least take 4 to 5 years to properly develop a quarterback the actual proper way. Second off, what's another reason why these quarterbacks are not being developed properly? Yeah, y'all seeing what they do in college, and we all know top picks are going to go to bad teams. But these bad teams don't prioritize protecting their quarterback, because a lot of these quarterbacks that fail is because they can't stay off their goddamn back. When you get a quarterback, your next best thing that you need to start addressing, if it's not already addressed, is the damn O-line. It's too many times where I've seen Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. I wouldn't necessarily say Trey Lance, but Zach Wilson and a bevy of other players, even CJ Stroud for a little bit. They didn't surround him with the best talent O-line wise, and it showed. Leading some of the league in sacks. Some of them was on their part, but a lot of it's on the O-line part. Also, what also goes well with a young quarterback, a run game. A lot. Justin Fields had a run game, but then you got rid of it. You traded David Montgomery, where you let him go. Same with Zach Wilson. He didn't have no run game for real, or a consistent one, I should say. Trey Lance just didn't get a fair shake. Trey Lance got drafted to the wrong team, honestly. They had no reason to draft him if they didn't think that he was going to be that guy. That's just the cold hard truth. But you see somebody like Lamar Jackson, who had all the labels of not, quote unquote, being the type of quarterback that they could turn into the quarterback he did turn into. But what happened? They had a run game. They had a solid online. They had solid coaching. Some form of weapons around him. And he was able to develop. Same with Patrick Mahomes. We ain't in a rush for you to play. We got Alex Smith. Sit your ass down for a year. After that, he learned. Now it's your turn. Our line is better. We got some weapons. We got a Hall of Fame tight end next to you. Go see what you got, young kid. And Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, same with him. Didn't necessarily have the best thing coming out at first. Got that O-line a little bit better. Getting people like Brian Dawkins up and in there. Getting a better D-line. Y'all just now starting to get a run game, and he with James Cook, and now y'all see y'all have a good chance of winning the championship this year. That's another example. Jalen Hurts, this motherfucker for majority of his year had the greatest O-line in the league. A run game. Then they eventually went to go give him one of the best running backs in the game. 2 great wide receivers. And a defense. That's how you build around the team properly. Jordan Love wasn't in a rush to put him out there. We still got Aaron Rodgers. We gonna bring you in when it's time. And when it is time, we not just finna bring you into a team that's just gutted. Still got a good online. Still got a good defense. Still got a good running game with Brandon Jacobs and others. That's how you bring in a quarterback the proper way. A lot of these quarterbacks are not being brought in the proper way, nor are they being taught the proper way. Because there's no way that a 44-year-old man who can't move should have just came in and just did what he did. But it is a way, because at the end of the day, you don't necessarily need wheels to play quarterback. If you're smart up here, you know where the ball is going, and you know how to read defenses and read the field, and you know what's happening. That's the main problems that's going on with the development in this league when it comes to quarterbacks. Organization, not drafting either the player at the wrong time, drafting a player that don't fit the organization or the scheme, not putting him with a right coach or letting him the wrong coach draft him, not protecting him, not giving him a run game, not giving him any weapons, but most importantly, not giving him time. That's the main thing I want y'all to walk away from this whole video, this whole discussion. Why our quarterbacks are struggling so much, why the development is not the same, why somebody like Phillip Rivers can just come in at 44 years old. One, he know how to read defense. Two, he ain't going around. He wasn't brought into a stupid situation. Three, in the beginning of his years, just like Tom Brady, just like the rest of them, Peyton Manning, Eli, they wasn't just given 2 to 3 years. They gave them time. And on top of that, they was taught the right way. They came in the league learning, trying to read defenses. They didn't come in relying on their athletic abilities. Let alone did they only just get drafted for their athletic abilities, because that's a lot of things that's going on now. Y'all see a strong arm, y'all see that 40 time, you see the arm strength, and y'all think that's what's gonna make a great quarterback. No, we've seen that a dime of dozen too many times. A lot of these motherfuckers are athletes. That's why in college, a lot of these players don't have positions. They name it, their next to their name is athlete, because they don't fit under a certain thing. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, y'all got to teach these kids the proper way of playing quarterback. And then when it's time for them to come into this league, you got to put them with the right coach, the right scenario, the right organization, and most importantly, you got to give them time. But thank y'all for another episode of NFL Central. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Make sure y'all drop y'all thoughts. What are y'all thoughts on why y'all feel like a lot of these quarterbacks are not developing the proper way they should? Drop it low. I want to hear y'all thoughts as well. But it's been another episode. Thank y'all for checking in. And we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. Happy holidays. It's currently Christmas Eve. So make sure you with your family. Be safe tonight. Love y'all. Peace. Happy New Year, too. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break